Okay, continuing with the WRI report on mitigating methane from agricultural activities, let's look at reducing methane from rice production. Rice is one of the world's most important staple crops. Billions of people depend on that, but its production is a potent source of greenhouse gas emissions, primarily from methane generated by flooded or paddy rice. This chapter focuses on solutions to reduce methane emissions from rice cultivation. These solutions often offer the benefits of reduced water use and increased rice yield per hectare, so lots of co-benefits as well. Estimated methane emissions, this is 35 million metric tons of methane from global rice fields in 2019. China is a big producer. India comes in, and then of course there are smaller rice eating countries: Vietnam, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Philippines, Thailand, Myanmar. So many of these may be consuming most of their rice or exporting some as well. There are varieties of rice that are definitely exported, like the basmati rice. Rice can grow on dry soil, but because of the plant's ability to grow in water, it's a long-standing practice to grow rice on flooded lands to aid weed control. So you drown the weeds and the rice does well. Breeding the cultivar what are the yield improvement approaches? Technology practice to reduce emissions, breeding and cultivar selection, using low methane producing varieties and selecting existing varieties with low methane emissions. As usual, I'm not going to read all the details. There are co-benefits in terms of water savings, drought resilience, drought resistance, and so on. Market readiness, it's promising. There are some varieties already available, but next steps are there, practical challenges are there. The other approach is mid-season drainage. Mid-season drainage involves the removal of surface flood water from the rice crop about 7 days toward the end of tillering. Okay, we can go read. This is market ready, and there are some practical challenges like small reduction in the grain yield because of this, or it may lead to weed growth and complicate life. Alternate wetting and drying techniques. This is also market ready. No sufficiently reliable water supply throughout the growing season. So if you want to do wetting and drying, you need to have a constant supply of water, as opposed to wetting it when it's raining and just leave it there and do better, right? There's always some catch. Drip irrigation, of course. This is market ready. Netafim announced its carbon credit initiatives for global rice growers using drip irrigation during COP27, but it requires initial capital investment. Persuading farmers to move away from conventional cultivation is always tricky. It's hard to understand. They take a lot of risks, but then they are very reluctant to take some other risks. Plowing rice straw during off-season. This is good for improved soil productivity, and it's market ready, but lack of equipment in smallholder farms can be a limitation, because if it costs to do that, then they won't do that. Biochar amendment, of course, it's market ready. It's more effective in clay soil types, so it doesn't work everywhere. It can be expensive and also dependent on biochar properties and soil type. There is the direct seeded rice DSR, where a crop establishment system exists. Rice seeds are sown directly into the field, as opposed to the traditional method of growing seedlings in a nursery and transplanting them into flooded fields. Okay, better protection when you do grow into a seedling first. So it's market ready, gaining increased attention where there is wheat rice double cropping. And practical challenges are that although direct seeding is widely practiced in the US and South America, productivity challenges have limited its wide scale adoption in Asia, where 90% of the global rice is produced and consumed. Farmers don't like anything that reduces yield. You can say all you want about mitigation, climate change, but if their pocketbooks get hit, they are not going to be happy. Ammonium over urea, sulfate, potash-based fertilizers is market ready, requires changes to cultivation habits for wide adoption in the rice sector. There are also cost issues, and persuading farmers is not easy to move them away from urea and so on. Nitrification inhibitors like hydroquinone, dicyandiamide, neem cake, neem oil coated urea. So this is market ready but not widely adopted for rice. Cost is currently a barrier for most effective methods. Natural and cheaper methods like neem cake tend to be less effective than the commercial options. So let's jump to some data. Methane mitigation potential in terms of percentage reduction compared to conventional cultivation from rice cultivation in major rice producing countries. So draining rice field, Pakistan is having luck, Vietnam is doing well, but the these are percentages, but the totals may be very high in some countries. In other words, absolute reductions may be higher, even though percentage reductions are higher elsewhere. Okay, rice straw applied off season. Here again, Egypt, Brazil are doing well, North Korea, United States. So you can see India and China don't show up so high on these numbers, but if you look at both options together, again Brazil, Egypt, Japan, let's see, India, not it's still over 30%, but not among the top ones in terms of percentages. North Korea is doing well. I don't know how they got North Korean data, but nonetheless. So let's read off the conclusions and close it out. Here is another cute cow happily grazing along in the open. I don't know, he's working through a fence for whatever reason. Agricultural, so there is a fence post here, which means he is finished inside and maybe reaching out outside. Agricultural methane mitigation offers a promising pathway to quickly reduce global greenhouse gas emissions while improving agricultural sustainability and productivity. Substantial progress can be made toward climate goals by integrating key strategies across enteric emissions, manure management, and rice production. Agricultural methane mitigation offers a highly promising pathway to quickly reduce greenhouse gas. Didn't we already read? No. Okay. Greenhouse gas emissions while boosting agricultural sustainability and productivity. By integrating key strategies across enteric emissions, manure management, and rice production, substantial progress can be achieved. For enteric methane, adopting inhibitors like 3-NOP and alternative solutions such as seaweed-based treatment show great potential, particularly when supported by long-term studies and innovative delivery systems that work across all production systems. Governments must continue supporting the development of methane-reducing compounds by ensuring confidence in their adoption once proven cost-effective. Continued R&D could help methane inhibitors offset their costs through improved feed efficiency or increased productivity. However, even if these productivity and efficiency benefits do not fully cover costs, the mitigation benefits alone justify widespread use. Governments can further incentivize adoption by making the use of these inhibitors a condition for receiving farm subsidies once they demonstrate cost-effective methane reduction. In other words, you can make it part of the regulation to to get subsidy. You have to do certain things that are friendlier in terms of reducing methane emissions. In developing countries, improving livestock feed quality is a critical focus to not only reduce methane emissions but also to enhance animal productivity and farmer incomes. Feed efficiency improvements, particularly in high forage systems prevalent in these regions, must be prioritized for enteric methane mitigation. Manure management solutions like solid separation, acidification, and most likely aeration offer high methane mitigation benefits, and these potentially scalable options can be rapidly deployed through increased farm trials, and improved monitoring systems. You always want to make sure there is actually mitigation happening and not just claims made. These solutions offer environmental benefits beyond greenhouse gas reductions, including improved fertilizer value and better water quality. In rice production, practices such as alternate wetting and drying and the adoption of low methane rice varieties offer significant co-benefits, particularly in water scarce and developing regions where rice is a major economic activity. R&D investments and suitability mapping are key to ensuring that these practices are tailored to specific regions, maximizing their effectiveness and adoption among smallholder farmers. Expanding access to knowledge sharing platforms alongside incentives and support for small-scale farmers will further accelerate adoption. Achieving maximum methane reduction requires a comprehensive and regionally tailored approach, integrating these practices across the agricultural sector. Coordinated international cooperation, expanded R&D, and financial support for farmers are essential to scaling these solutions effectively. By improving feed quality, fostering public-private partnerships, and creating financial incentives, agricultural methane reduction can drive productivity, support rural livelihoods, and advance global climate and food security goals, folks. So that's only 11 minutes, but we ran through the whole report rather briefly, but please follow up with the details if this is of interest to you. And I hope these podcasts gave you enough of an introduction and the details that you need, that you can do something with them. Okay, see you in the next topic then.